and maybe it is the most important, is that the Japanese economy is opening up.
So Philippe, you partly grew up in Japan, and you have also managed big Swiss companies, managed their affiliates in Japan, as well as in several other Asian countries as well. Why should a Swiss or European country open a business or start its affiliate in Japan?
You know, Celeste, I think there are several reasons, but I would like to emphasize three reasons. One is that Japan is a very big country, it's a very big market, so the third largest country in the world in terms of GNP. Another reason is that the market of Japan is very innovative and very sophisticated with very good products. And the third reason, and maybe it is the most important, is that the Japanese economy is opening up. And it is now, and the government has a very ambitious objective to increase the foreign direct investment from 200 billion to 300 billion in only 6 years. And the government is taking many measures to achieve this objective.
Okay, and you said they're taking many drastic measures. What are those measures that are being taken?
I mean, overall, I would say there is a wind of liberalism which is blowing in Japan. More concretely, there are measures like some economic cooperation and free trade agreement are moving forward. There is a Trans-Pacific partnership which still need to be ratified. There is an agreement, a free trade agreement between Japan and the European Union, which is also moving forward. On third, and maybe most important, it's now becoming much easier to open up a company in Japan, to get a working permit if you're a foreigner. And then for many products, it's easier to get the marketing authorization, including in some very important sectors like the life science sector.
Okay, and sort of despite all these new measures, the Japanese market is still thought to be quite complicated. Do you still think this is true?
Overall, it is less and less true. And then at the micro level, we have to see every market on every product separately. And in some markets, maybe there are very strong Japanese competitors with very good product, competitive price, satisfied customers, established distribution channels, established regulation. For those markets, it may be very difficult to be successful unless you have a very exceptional product with uncommon features. But in many other sectors, it's not as competitive as what I mentioned. And I know many Swiss and European companies in Japan of every size, in every industry. And for most of those companies, for some products, they are very successful. For other products, they are not successful or not very much successful. Just take one very well-known example, Nestlé, one of the biggest Swiss company. So Nestlé is quite successful in coffee, in some chocolate like Kit Kat, but in the dairy products, they are struggling much more.
Okay, and it's sort of widely thought that the Japanese market is, becoming really innovative and sophisticated. Why is this good news for foreign companies?
I will take from my own experience as a manager of a Swiss affiliate in Japan, but also my own experience as somebody who has established a company in Japan in the e-commerce field. In Japan, there are very good products, but also there are very good business processes, business models. And the only way to learn about those things is to compete in Japan, to be present in the market. And to give you a real example, in one industry, the product, the machine, breaks down normally 4 times per year. This is an international standard accepted by clients. But in Japan, the same machine breaks down once every 4 years. So I think it is very interesting to be in this market in Japan, to compete, and probably to take some elements of this Japanese quality and export it to other countries.
Yeah, well, it definitely sounds like an exciting market there. But Japan is also generally thought to be quite a high-cost country. Do you believe this is true?
I think probably it was true in the past. But now it is really less and less true. If you take, for instance, the real estate market, Japan is much cheaper than other countries, like in other cities like Shanghai, like Singapore, Hong Kong, and so on. If you take the salaries, still the salary in Japan are much lower than the salaries in the USA, in Western Europe.
Okay, so you've been a manager in Swiss affiliates in Singapore, Hong Kong, China, India and Japan. What are the comparative advantages of Japan, in particular for Asian headquarters?
I think that all the countries you mentioned have pros and cons. And it also depends on the company, on the products. But in general, I would say that Japanese people and Swiss people, we share some common characteristic, and those are important for choosing, for instance, Asian headquarters. We tend to be low profile. We tend to have an orientation toward quality, precision, reliability. So it's good to have common characteristics. And then, even though Switzerland is a very small country, we are still the 6th largest investor in Japan. And actually, there are more investment from Europe than from USA in Japan.
Well, it'll definitely be interesting to see where it goes from here. But Philippe, thank you so much for coming and chatting with us today.
Thank you to you.
That's all from myself and Philippe Monnier. Thank you for watching, and remember to keep clicking back to Dukascopy TV.